Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to October's PD Coordinators webinar. How's everybody doing this afternoon? I'm kind of waiting this as people come in here. I'm Anne Marie Molinari Sanders with Train PD at TCall, and I'm joined by my co-pilot this afternoon, as I like to say, Katie Snow. I should have an airplane behind me and not this big auditorium. So I just want to say howdy to everybody. And again, I'll be presenting with the rest of the team, and Katie's going to be helping host. So as we wait for more people to join, and I see we have 24 people, so welcome. I just want to do a quick warm up and ask all of you. The fall is my favorite time of the year. I'm not sure about all of you, but I love the fall. How many of you love the fall as much as I do? Do y'all love the fall? Just go ahead and put that in the chat pod and let me know. Do you guys like the fall? Yeah, so Paula says thumbs up. I love the fall. Yep, Nelda, Jan, exactly. Okay, so I have a question for you. And that is, what is your favorite activity, your favorite thing to cook, or your favorite way to relax? What do you like to do? And I almost want to be a brat and say you can't choose football, but that may be one of your favorite things to do. But what are some of your things you like to do this time of year? Whether it's cooking, like a recipe or an activity. Oh, Thelma. I haven't been to a bonfire in years. Campfire on the beach. Oh, how awesome is that, Wendy? Go outside, cute sweaters. That's awesome. Peach pies. Oh, Olga, I'm coming to your house. Barbecue. Oh my goodness. That sounds wonderful. I know Beth made gumbo last weekend, I think, and I wanted to be at her house for gumbo. So walks in the cool weather, right? I love it because Houston gets cool, right? We wait all year for about this time. Homemade soup, Jan. Oh, that sounds wonderful. Like the gumbo. Oh, and then Beth said it was yummy. I like to decorate my porch. Oh my goodness. It's all decked out with pumpkins and crafts and pillows and all kinds of stuff. So, oh, how fun. I love reading all this stuff. Okay. All right. Well, we'll get going. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera. And once again, welcome to the PD Coordinator webinar. And we're gonna get going here. So, and thank you for sharing, everybody. So our agenda is packed as always, and we are going to discuss some conferences and statewide events and trainings, and we're going to talk about our monthly webinar series. Lots of exciting webinars coming up in the next couple months, and assessment announcements, PD portal announcements, and then we're going to wrap everything up with PD coordinator time with Krista. And so packed agenda. So starting off with our new training conferences and statewide events, we have Beth, and she's going to talk about a conference that's coming up.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to see you online. Just wanted to let you guys know, a reminder that the Texas Workforce Commission Conference is coming up in November, and we do have a Adult Education and Literacy Pre-Conference Day, which will be Tuesday, November 16th from 9 to 3:30. And we have two separate tracks that will be happening at the same time. One is the AEL Directors Business Meeting, which will be led by Mahalia and the TWC staff. And then a second track, building digital resilience into your program. And registration for both of these sessions is in the PD portal. And you will have an option to attend either face-to-face or virtually. So when you go into the PD portal, you'll see both of those options, the face-to-face or the virtual. Choose just one. And we're just looking forward to it. I didn't know, Deb, if you are on and would like to say a little bit about the digital resilience session.
Sure. Hi, everyone. So what we're doing is, as you probably realized over the last year, as we make a bigger impact of our digital footprint, we're realizing that not everything is equal. Equal economically, equal educationally, and so we're going to be working with the World Ed Tech Center and bring down Jeff Gumas for face-to-face part of the session, and we'll be zooming in Priyanka Sharma, also from World Ed and the Ed Tech Center, and they're going to help us build a digital equity plan for our programs. And so when we were thinking about who do we need in that workshop, we thought about who would be impacted by this, who would be available and be the most meaningful people to help us build this digital equity plan. And so we're looking for your DL lead, we're looking for your career navigator, and we're looking for your instructional coach to all be represented at this training, the Building Digital Resilience. We feel that if we can get the buy-in from those three, they'll work together. Some will be working on getting the community involved, some will be getting the administration involved, and some will be working on getting those students involved and those teachers involved. So we look forward to all of you joining us on that day. Remember, you don't all three have to be in person or virtual. We could have a representative in person and two of your other people virtual or vice versa. But we're looking forward to seeing you there.
Thank you so much, Deb. And
Yep.
I want to go, and I want to go ahead and I want to just take a step back because I realized that we got off the runway a few minutes early, and I apologize for that. So what I want to do is we had about 10 people join in the last 2 minutes. So what I'd like to do is see if anybody wants us to repeat. This is our first topic on the agenda for this meeting. So would anybody like us to repeat just a summary? I know Deb just finished talking, but is there anybody that would like us to just repeat or has any questions about this slide right here? Because we started about 2 minutes early, so I do apologize about that. So does anybody have any questions? Okay,
Yeah.
so Donna, okay,
I'll go ahead and just go back over this slide real quickly. So the Texas Workforce Commission Conference is coming up in Houston. I didn't mention that. It is in Houston. And AEL has a pre-conference day on Tuesday, November 16th. And we have two tracks. One is the AEL Directors Business Meeting. And I think they're really targeting directors +1, I believe. And then another track with building digital resilience into your program with representatives from World Education facilitating that. Both sessions are available face-to-face and virtually, and the pre-conference sessions can be registered for in the PD portal. And I think we can go ahead, Anne Marie.
Okay, and thank you again, everybody, for understanding. All right, so we're going to keep going, and now we have Paula.
Thank you, Anne Marie. Howdy, everyone. We did finish a literacy symposium this past Saturday. It was a very different one, and it was a huge success. We had over 70 participants, and we had some great presenters at the DFW Poverty Literacy Symposium. We have one more literacy learning conference. It's the NCFL Learning Conference, and it will be virtual. You know, it was supposed to come to Texas the last 2 years, but they're still accepting registration. And I've got the link down here on the right-hand side underneath the 2021 NCFL conference, and you can still register. And then I've just got the link over here to the left, just in case you haven't gotten a refund for your Pro Literacy Conference. They have a lot of frequently asked questions, and that's a great website right there to ask about your conference refund and future date for the Pro Literacy Conference. Thank you, Emery.
Hi, thank you so much, Paula. So we're going to move on, and I am happy to share another webinar from the Learning Disability Association. And they are doing a series of webinars that are free in the months of actually October and November. So I'll be able to share some next month as well. But this month, there's going to be one on October 25th at 5 p.m. Eastern, but 4 p.m. Central. And it is actually mental health, learning disabilities, understanding the connection. And again, this is a free webinar, and we're going to put the link to register in the chat pod. Thank you, Katie. And this is going to be, again, with experts in the field. And this is going to be Dr. Lauren McGrath and Dr. Laura Santeri-Lamont. And they're going to be discussing the connection between learning differences and mental health, and especially the connection that we often see between learning disabilities and attention hyperactivity disorder and learning disabilities and anxiety. And I know as a teacher, I saw this quite a bit. And you may also, see this in your own classes, or your teachers may see this. So this is an opportunity to learn from people from across the country and leading experts. And again, an opportunity that's free. So I'm excited to share that with you. So mark your calendars. And I did have a question when I had featured this before. We will not administer a PD certificate for this. So you'll have to work with your program to decide, how the PD works.
Esa es la clase que estaba diciéndome.
So any questions about that, just put that in the chat pod and we'll move on. And now what I'd like to do is talk about some updates to the Standards 3.0 training options. And this was a response to actually requests from the field and also from our own staff. We felt that we needed to make some adjustments, and also from the trainer. So what I'm going to do is, you see this on the screen, Katie is actually going to download a training options flow chart that I'm going to talk about here in a minute. So there are some really exciting options that we've added. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to let Katie let me know if she can see my screen. Or let me know.
Yes, I see your Standards 3.0 training options.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Katie. So what we have now, and these trainings are available in the PD portal, so you can request them tomorrow if you want, or this afternoon with your PD specialist, your trained PD specialist. So what we've done is we've broken out a few things. So you have the option to request the Standards 3.0 as a full session. And we actually, the amount of time has gone down a little bit, and it's 3.5 hours. So if you want the entire training at one time, you would request that training. Okay, so that's your first option. And the next option is going to be the full session split. And the reason we're offering it in a full session split, part 1 and part 2, is because many programs were asking for the family content standards on one day and then coming back the next day and having the civics. So this option would be if you wanted, again, the split. So you would have the one on one day, and then you would come back and you would do the civics on another day. Now, the reason that the part 1 is 2 hours is because there's the unpacking the content standards in that part. Okay, so some of you may want that option, and it was one that was requested quite a bit. So the Standards 3.0 team, we really thought we need to have this. So those are your 3 options right there. So again, you have the option for the full session in one sitting, or you can break it out over 2 days, or have a Tuesday and then come back on a Thursday. So a part 1 and then a part 2. Okay. But then I also want to show you the next page, which has not changed. And this is the standalone option. And this is for programs who are requesting just the family content standard. So It's one or the other. You just want the family or you need the civics content standards. We hope that you want both. But again, there may be some programs that want the standalone family, and then some programs just need the standalone civics. And the reason that these are 2 hours, both, is because both of them have the unpacking section, unpacking the standards. So in a way, it repeats content. That's why you don't want to request both of these. If you want both of them, you would request the full session split part 1 and part 2. All right. Now, your trained PD specialist is available to answer questions for you, and so am I. If you have questions, reach out to your PD specialist and they will help you with understanding these if you have any questions. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to see, because I think
There are a few questions in the chat pod regarding
Yes,
it.
ma'am. Okay, go ahead.
So let's see. Tiffany asks, is the TOT curriculum updated as well in the PD portal? Robin jumped on that one. Yes, they are updated. Tara, are the standards 3.0 training offered synchronously or asynchronously? Also, are they under LIT or PAL or both? Lots of great questions.
Okay, so let me, I'm going to use a word that we hear a lot. I'm going to unpack. So first of all, I want to say, yes, thank you to Katie and to Laura and for Robin for working so hard to get the materials updated, Tiffany. So I will be sending out an email to the trainers, the TOT certified trainers, the Standards 3.0 trainers. So look for that early next week. So great question, Tiffany. Everything is updated and you'll be able to follow it with the same titles. Okay. So then another question, and who asked the next question, Katie? I want to address by name. Who asked the next
Tara.
question? Tara, thank you. Great question as well. These are going, I think you mean you can request this face-to-face, so synchronous face-to-face, or you are also have the option to request these online. Well, that is synchronous too. So I think your question may be, is this like a course in the PD portal? And that is no. These are synchronous sessions, either face-to-face or virtual trainings. I think that answers your question. And they are lit. These count for lit requirement. Okay.
Awesome. That's all we have so far for questions.
All right. So I'm going to thank you so much, everybody. And I hope that you're excited about this. We are. And thank you so much. So let's move on. We covered both these, and let's pause again to see if are there any other questions?
One more. Will there be a TOT for standards offered soon? That's from Marie.
Okay, Marie, that is actually a very good question too. We actually have a cadre of trainers that are available to train for your program already. We had a Standards 3.0 TOT in the spring, this spring, and so we have a lot of trainers ready to go and in the queue available to train. So if you need this training for your program, reach out to your PD specialist. And I believe that is your question, right? Did I answer?
She said, thank you.
Okay. All right. Great. All right, Katie, just let me know if there's any other questions. And let's go ahead and we're going to talk about the monthly webinar series. And on deck is Dr. Olga Escamilla.
Greetings, everyone. I just want to share a little bit about our upcoming October 25th session. The topic is 12 overlooked practices great leaders develop that poor leaders don't. So join Dr. Rick Alvarado as he shares how he has met more than a few ineffective leaders who have great intentions that just haven't developed the skills and attitudes that separate great leaders from poor leaders. So Dr. Alvarado will share 12 overlooked practices that stand out as often missed qualities and characteristics of the best leaders. So the good news is that none of these are genetic. So they mostly consist of attitudes and disciplines. So register today, spread the word about and learn how one can change their attitude, gain some discipline, and become a far better leader. So join us for that.
Oh, fantastic, Olga. So thank you so much. That sounds great. And Olga, go ahead.
Yes. So November, we are working on a presenter. So that is to be announced. And for December 13th, we have coaching and empowering questions. So join us. That will also be presented by Dr. Alvarado. I don't have a description yet, but coaching and empowering questions from a leader perspective. So join us for that.
Wonderful. Okay. And I think,
And
hold
yes, I
on.
think I do. I have the next slide. So the next slide, I just wanted to share that we have our Manager Monday dates for 2022. So I put them in the chat. So if you want to write those down somewhere, and we will probably most likely send those out. So we're excited to share the 2022 dates.
Oh,
Thank you, Anne-Marie.
wonderful. You're welcome. And I just got to say, everybody, I just love this little guy on the screen. I told Olga I wanted to steal him for my slides because I just think he's adorable. I'm not
He's
sure
very
what it is, but
excited. He's excited about the dates. Me too.
I love him. I love him. I love him. All right. So now we have on deck Krista to talk about Teacher Tuesday.
Good afternoon, everyone. So our next Teacher Tuesday is November 9th, and that should actually say 12 to 1:30 because it's a 90-minute session so that Anne-Marie Molinari Sanders can go over those wonderful content standards 3.0. This is just an overview. Just to kind of give you an idea of what you and your staff will get when you sign up to have the content standards come to your program. And registration will be available very soon in the PD portal. So watch for that.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Krista. And actually, this kind of dovetails with the Tech Intel that we're going to talk about too. So I think we're going to transfer to that, I think. Oh, no. Okay. Workforce Wednesday. Olga, you're back.
I'm back. So a couple of dates remaining for Workforce Wednesday this year. We have October 27th, November 17th, and December 15th. Next slide. So for October 27th, we have Sandy Goodman with Personal and Workplace Skills Library. This is a great resource for your career navigators, for your instructors. Join us to learn about the Personal and Workplace Skills Library. So November 17th, we have Andrea Skipper, and she's going to be talking about interviews and prep for success. So we've had a lot of great comments about the session. So join us for interviews and prep for success on November 17th. And then on December 15th, we have Maria Naya, and she's going to be talking about the career navigator perspective on working with ITPs. So join us for our last 3 sessions of the year. Next slide.
All right. Great. Okay.
And I just again want to share that I do have the 2022 dates for Workforce Wednesday. And we're excited to share those in the chat. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Olga. Thank you. All right. So we're going to move into the Tech Intel now. And we have Ryan Lett from Richardson ISD returning in October 22nd. And she's going to be doing a 90-minute session on Flipgrid. So I'm very excited about this. Many of you may have joined. She was here on October 8th for Mentimeter and Slido, but Ryan is back on October 22nd, and she'll be talking about Flipgrid. And you can register in the portal right now, and it is going to be from 11:30 to 1, so 90 minutes. And then kind of dovetailing with what Krista was talking about. Oh, actually, excuse me, that'll be December. November is in the queue to be announced. I did have a schedule change with one presenter, and I've asked another presenter, but we're not quite ready to share that yet. So stay tuned, and stay tuned for PD portal registration. So that's in the works. And then now December is going to be a Tech and Tell webinar on the teaching skills that matter, digital lesson plan materials. So if you attend the Standards 3.0 overview for Teacher Tuesday, you may also want to have your teachers come to this, because this is going to go a deeper dive into the teaching skills that matter materials for civics. And there are so many great materials. Angie Mudd from Community Action has been successfully integrating these materials with her, the classrooms at Community Action. Her teachers are using them. And so she is getting very knowledgeable about how to use these for civics instruction. So I'm excited that she'll be with us in December. And she actually will also be back in January as well. So I have a few dates to share with you, and these are the upcoming dates as well. So we have October 22nd, November 12th, December 3rd, and January 28th. You can mark your calendars for that Tech and Tell coming up in January. And so, and finally, we cannot do this without all of you. Many of our presenters come from suggestions, so reach out to us. And again, our contact information is here on the screen, so I won't repeat it, but I know Katie will put our information in the chat pod, so please reach out to us and let us know if you'd like to present, or you have a teacher or a colleague that you think would be a great fit for Manager Monday, Teacher Tuesday, Workforce Wednesday, or Tech and Tell. All right, I'm going to stop here and see if there are any questions.
No questions so far.
Okay. All right, so we'll keep going, keep rolling. And assessment training. And I believe this is going to be Robin, I believe. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy that you're here today. And I'm going to talk, just got a couple of slides that I want to bring you up to speed about CASA. So if we could go on to the next slide, please. One of the things that we've been telling you about is that the CASA's refresher guidance is coming. Well, real-time announcement here in the last hour, it has gone live on the TWC approved test training chart. So Katie is going to put the link in the chat now, and it's the link to the AEL assessment guide. And on page 60 of that assessment guide, or of our assessment guide, you can find a link that gives you all the TWC approved test trainings. And now you will see that there is prescribed guidance for the CASA's refresher. You know, you're supposed to take the refresher every 2 years. So now you have options. So we hope that you'll take a look at that this afternoon or in the next couple of days, please. And if you have any questions at all, we ask that you contact your PD specialist. You can also contact Beth Ponder, or me, Robin Booth, or Tracy Hendricks. And so I think Katie's going to put our information in the chat too, so that you can contact us if you have any questions about the refresher guidance. Also want to let you know that the information can also be accessed on the program management page of the TCAL website. So thank you very much. I think that you'll be pleased with the refresher guidance. So take a look at that this afternoon. Thank you so much.
Robin, thank you so much. Very important information. And I think there may be another slide, right?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, also about CASA. This has to do with the CASAS trainers. Now, if you have attended a TOT for CASAS, this is what I'm going to speak about now. I want to remind everybody that if when you're looking on that that chart of the TWC approved trainings for assessments, you'll see that for CASAS trainers or proctors, it is the Texas style CASAS modules 1 through 4. Now, if you are a trainer who attended the initial CASAS TOTs with the publisher, and oh gosh, that was back in 2019. I think we had just a road show maybe in April and June, and we just did a blitz across Texas when it was first introduced into the state. If you attended one of those TOTs, you are going to need additional training in order to be able to use the Texas style CASAS modules 1 through 4, which is the approved test training for Texas. So this week, if you were one of the ones who attended in 2019, you should have received an email with a survey on it. And that survey is going to assess where if your program currently uses CASAS or if you're going to be using it soon. And then also to ask if you wish to continue your trainer credential. Now, if you check yes to that, we're going to ask that you have just a very bit of brief training, bringing you up to speed to use the Texas style CASAS modules 1 through 4. This curriculum is much more robust. There's scripted training materials, PowerPoints. There are hands-on components for the training components for the participants. So we want to make sure that you feel comfortable being able to use these new materials so that, when you go out and train using them, you'll be able to answer all the questions and be able to navigate the materials easily. So what we're going to do is once we get all the responses back from the survey, then we will schedule opportunities for you to update your CASAS trainer credential so that you will be able to use the Texas style CASAS modules 1 through 4 training materials. So please be sure to look for that email. It was sent earlier in this week, and complete that email. And as soon as we get all those responses, we'll be in touch. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Robin. We appreciate you. And I think we have pause now for questions. And there was a lot of great information that was just shared. Robin just shared about the assessment. So I want to see if there's any questions. I want to just pause for a few. I'm going to channel Debbie Yanisek, and I want to just pause and see if there are any questions. She says she always likes to wait 10 seconds. So let's just wait and see if there's any questions. And Oscar has a question. What options are available for TABE 11-12 attunement sessions? So Robin or Beth, I think. I'm not sure.
Do you want me to take it, Beth, or you?
Take it away.
Okay. Okay, Oscar, thank you for that question. You asked about the attunement. I'm assuming that you mean the refresher sessions. TABE, the publisher for TABE, does not offer a prescribed or prescriptive refresher. As with most of the TABE assessments, what you will need to do is geared toward the needs of the test administrator. So if you need, it typically goes along with scoring recalibration, perhaps, maybe whatever the needs of the test administrator are. That's what the refresher would need to be, and it needs to be done every 2 years. Does that help, Oscar? Okay, thank you.
All right, so we'll continue, but we'll keep our eye on the chat pod if you think of any other assessment questions. And here we go. So next we have Katie to talk about new courses.
Howdy, everybody. We have been busy in post-production. We have 6 new courses that are ready for you. Manager Monday, Ability to Benefit Part 2. Manager Monday, Employee Search and Interviewing Skills for Administrators. I will say I previewed that one and it has some really good information. Workforce Wednesday, Making Sense of Career Pathways. And then we have 2 Tech and Tells. Tech and Tell, ReadWorks Revisited Part 2. And then we also have a Tech and Tell, Have You Heard the Word About Vocabulary.com, Part 1. And then we have New Directors Training Session 6. Now, just so if you're going to look, New Directors Training 4 and 5 have not been released yet. We're still waiting on some things to get finalized there, but we do have some 6 really great recorded webinars here for you. And if you are ever in the are planning to attend a webinar, but you can't make it, remember that we do record a lot of them, especially our regular webinar series. So if you have questions about those or if they're going to be recorded, please feel free to email us at pdportal@tamu.edu.
Thank you so much, Katie. And I do see that a question came in the chat pod. So I want to see if we can stop and address Nelda Torvar's question. So Robin, can you, oh, okay. I think you put it in the chat pod. All right, so I want to make sure, Nelda, did that help you? Did that answer the question? Let's see here.
Anne Marie, the Tier 1 trainings are typically the responsibility of the local program. However, as you all know, during COVID, we had restrictions. There were a lot of new employees being hired and so forth. And so we were able to provide statewide assessment trainings. And we may be able to do that again. We're going to be sending out a survey in the next month or so about this to see if there is a need. But you know, when we peel the onion just a little bit more, the Tier 1 training is the responsibility of the local program right now. So thank you.
But I will add, thank you, Robin. I will add, Nelda, that if you don't have someone on staff that is trained to be a trainer, you can contact your PD specialist and we can send you some names of people that might be able to come in and do training for you.
Thank you so much, Beth. And just to clarify, we like to do this just for accessibility reasons. I do want to read the question. Tier 1 trainings for test administrators is the responsibility of the local provider. However, we may be offering some virtual statewide trainings earlier next year. And that was in response to the question asked by Nelda. So let me see here. And Nelda says, thank you. And Nelda says, got it. Thank you. Okay. All right. So thank you, everyone, that helped answer that question. And we're going to move on. And now we have Laura to talk more PD portal info.
Hi, everyone. So we made the switch over to reporting 2.0 in the PD portal about a year and a half ago, I believe, but we did leave custom and standard reports in there. There were some folks who were using them and had not quite were a little slower to make the transition over to reporting 2.0. But at this point, the time has come. If you are still using custom and standard reports, then you need to go ahead and you need to make the switch over to reporting 2.0 and start to get familiar and comfortable with it. We have a lot of resources available in the PD portal, resources for supervisory access Wakelet. We had to expand that name a little bit, but that's the same Wakelet as that we used to call the PD portal. The PD coordinators Wakelet. So you can go look there for reporting 2.0 information. And the reason that we're pushing this at this point is because beginning in January, we're going to go ahead and remove those features from the PD portal and just stay a little bit ahead of the curve from Cornerstone, who will be removing them shortly thereafter from their platform as a whole. So we want to try to make sure we get everyone switched over and comfortable with reporting 2.0 before it's really kind of, ride or die time with it. So if you have any questions, and I do see one that just came in, but in general, if you have any questions about reporting 2.0 or just anything portal related, reach out to Katie or I, and we'll be happy to help you out. And Tara says, is there a training on how to use reporting 2.0 in the portal? And I think the short answer, oh yes, Katie's shaking her head yes at me. Katie, why don't you take that one?
I thought I clicked unmute. Sorry. There's not necessarily a hands-on training, but we do have a step-by-step resource that we have available, and it's inside the Wakelet. If you open it up, it goes under reporting, or it says, I think it's running reports or reporting 2.0. And we have one for our large consortium, and then we also have one for our smaller ones. So that should help. Tara, it says that it doesn't show any reports under my team. No, it's under reports. So you have to look at the report tab. And so that's going to help you. So let me, I can put the direct link of the PDF. And then if you have other questions specifically about how to run those reports, go ahead and reach out to us at pdportal@tamu.edu, and either me or Laura can help you out and make sure you feel comfortable and that you have access to everything that you need.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. And I see that we did put the supervisory Wakelet in the chat pod, and the Wakelet is a great resource. I have accessed it many times myself, so thank you. It is very, very helpful, and I encourage you, if you haven't, check it out because it's wonderful. And there's also another Wakelet, right, Katie? Just a general, or is it this one? I may be thinking about another one.
No, this one is the one that is for any kind of supervisory access, and basically what anyone has access to in the PD portal as a manager, approver. Those are PD portal terms. So no, this is the one that I think she's referring to. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. And so we're gonna keep going, and then we also put the link to the small consortia in the chat pod as well. Katie just put the link there too. All right. So we're going to move on, and now we have Laura is back to talk about those Zoom updates, right, Laura? That just always sneak up on us.
And just to reiterate, with the custom and standard reports, we're not going to take those off of the PD portal until January. So if you need to make that transition, you've got some time. It's not a tomorrow thing that's coming up. Okay, so Zoom. We periodically throw this slide in just as kind of a courtesy reminder to make sure that you have updated your Zoom app recently. The most recent update was October 13th. I took a look at it, and it is very specific to a certain Android device. It's updated this bug fix for this Android device. So some releases are reach more broadly than others. I will say that within the month of October, I think there have already been 6 releases. So again, that just kind of is to reemphasize the importance of making sure you update your Zoom app. Beginning November 1st, Zoom is going to begin enforcing a 9-month release window. And so what that means is that from that point on, users will be prompted to update their software if their version falls behind this 9-month window. So if you've not updated in 9 months, that means that you will have fallen behind that 9-month window. This really helps ensure that Zoom users receive the latest Zoom features, but also, and arguably more important, it makes sure that you have access to privacy and security enhancements as well. So be sure to check the Zoom release notes, and Katie's putting all these links in the chat pod. So if you go to the Zoom release notes, it's going to tell you, that's where you're going to find out what each release has focused on. So like I said, the most recent one was very specific to a BlackBerry Android device. So I know I don't need to worry about that one as much, but maybe 1 or 2 before that was more broadly reaching. And then we also have a helpful video. I found this comes from the Zoom website, so we take zero ownership or credit for it. It's a video that I found. It's about, I think, 2 minutes long, and it shows you 3 different ways to update your Zoom app. So if it feels or sounds scary to get that updated, whether it's on your phone or your laptop or your desktop, whatever your device is, go take a look, because they address a couple of different ways in that video to update your Zoom app. And that's all I've got. Thanks, Anne Marie.
Thanks so much, Laura. Thank you. All right, so we're going to move on here, and let's go ahead and stop again and see if there are any questions, and because a lot of things have come in. So let me see if there's any questions.
I just scrolled through and it looks like there aren't any questions per se. Yeah, I think everything's been addressed. There's definitely some great stuff here in the chat pod, though, of the links that we've just posted. So make sure you take a look and save what you need.
I agree. Definitely make sure the links. And if anyone has, and thank you for reminding me, Katie, if anyone wasn't able to download the Standards 3.0 training options sheet that Katie shared earlier on, let me know or email me directly, and I can get that to you directly, because I know sometimes, and she just put it in there again because she's awesome. So it's there. So let's keep going. Thank you, Katie. And now it is PD coordinator time. I always feel like we're going to play a game show when I see this slide, Krista. So take it away.
All right, go ahead and go to the next slide, please. All right, so just a reminder that the PD plans are due tomorrow. Several programs have already sent them in. And if you just send it to TWC, that's great, but please make sure that your TCAL PD specialist gets a copy, and also your program support specialist. If you're not sure where you're at, if you need a little bit more assistance, again, reach out to your PD specialist and we will help you get this thing finished and on its way.
Thank you, Krista. And I think you're up again here on deck. Here you go.
All right. And that we've had a lot of good information today and some questions. This is your time as a PD coordinator. Do you have any questions that you've been wondering about since last month, or things that you just need to have some clarification on, etc.? So I'll give you guys just a couple of seconds to put it in the chat or unmute. And this can be about anything. Well, concerning adult education and preferably PD.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
We have a couple of new teachers on board. They don't have their regular school email yet, so we're hesitant to start their PDs because we want them to register in the portal with their school ID, because you know it's just really hard whenever they have to go in and we have to tell them to change it. And then, anyway, for several reasons we want them to do this. But how long do new teachers have to get their first PDs done?
That's an excellent question. If they're new to AEL, they have 30 days to get that first 6 hours done.
Okay.
So,
and if they're coming back, if they've worked for us before but had a gap in their employment,
no, then they're good to go.
Okay. Even if it's been a couple of years?
Yes.
Oh, good, because we have some that are coming back after the pandemic and stuff. So, yay, thank you.
Yeah. Yes. And Olga put one in my chat. Is there any training to onboard a new PD coordinator, or do they just train with the PD specialist? All right, that's another excellent question, Olga. Thank you. We don't have a specific training. However, in the AEL fundamentals that have been put into the PD portal just recently, there is one on professional development. And it is a very good overview of professional development. It goes through definitions. It talks about tier 1, tier 2. It talks about how to request training, the difference between a PD coordinator and a PD specialist and your program support specialist. It has all of that. It has a teams element in it. So what I would like to suggest is if you are a new PD coordinator, or if you have one coming in, please watch that AEL fundamentals first. Take your time as you go through it. Take notes, write down questions. And that way, when you do meet with your PD specialist, you'll already have some background information and have be able to ask more in-depth questions and such. And exactly, Marie, I agree with you. That would be great even for those of you that have been here for a while. It's a really good overview of the PD and what TCAL can offer and stuff like that. So please, I think that's your best bet. But then obviously working with your PD specialist, I know Wayne does a lot of face-to-face visits now, and he really likes, he really works really well with his programs. And I like Tiffany Lee. Oh, just dive right into the deep end. It's an amazing feeling. Yes, ma'am. That's how most of us have. And that's what I love about being able to have this AEL fundamentals course ready for whenever anybody wants it. And then this is awesome, Jan. Thank you for this. She says, I just want to give a shout out to Wayne, our program support specialist, with all his help in getting my first PD plan completed and submitted. We really appreciate that feedback. Thank you. So, yes, no, there's not any formal training, but at least there is something to watch, to get some information about, and then work with your PD specialist for that. Where am I? Okay, so Thelma, Wayne is awesome. Larissa, second that. Wayne is so helpful and calming. Yes, that's awesome, Wayne. And then Anne Marie wrote to me. The Wakelet resource, Anne Marie, are you talking about the one that for the PD portal assistance?
Yes, I just wondered if anybody would, that came to me as a private chat, and she recommended maybe a demo, or since we have time, and if anyone's interested to see it. It was just an idea. I thought I would, since it's PD coordinator time, I thought, would anyone like to see it? Or
Katie, could you pull that up real quick and take us through that very quickly?
Yep. Let me get situated here.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you. I wasn't sure if we were going to have enough time, but since we do have time, and as Krista said, this is extremely valuable time for all of you. So I thought I thought it was a good idea, and it came as a private, so I thought I would.
Sure. Okay, so let me get my screen shared here. All right. So in the past, can you see it? Can everyone see it? Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. In the past, we actually started off naming it the PD Coordinators Wakelet. But then as things evolved, it became more of a supervisory access because we have so many people who are not necessarily PD coordinators. And so we really didn't want anyone to be deterred by that name because there's so many people that have their hands in and out of the portal and checking on their teams. So we just changed the name slightly just recently. And I want to tell, like, this is essentially like a handbook of all the helpful resources that anyone would need who goes into the PD portal and has an admin tab, a My Team tab, a reports tab. Those are the three ones that we kind of cover. And so sometimes we use, Laura and I especially use a lot of terminology that is very specific to the PD portal, and it may mean absolutely nothing to the field, like the word manager and approver. That really isn't important on your part, but for us on the back end, it means a lot because of your roles and your access. And so we use those terms all the time. So we have this little Wakelet, which is our website here that we add stuff to. We've got a professional development terminology, and I don't think you can see it because I only shared my other PDF, but it basically just walks through terms that you will or may hear from us, talks about your abilities within the PD portal. And now that you have this supervisory access, you have access to reports, admin, and My Team. Then it goes along and it tells you exactly how to run these reports. And it goes into a lot of detail. So anything that's green and underlined is going to be a clickable link. So when you click this link right here, it's going to open up a new PDF. And so let me go ahead and do another share so that you can actually see it. So let's say my large consortia, okay, that one's what Tara was asking from earlier. And it goes over how to pull up a report. Click on report at the top or hover on reports, click on reporting 2.0, and then it tells you all the reports that are available to you. And so this is super helpful because it tells, it has a description of what these reports are. Active user reports, those are the ones where you hear from me quarterly. You actually can pull them anytime that you want. Available live training, available online curricula, program session roster. This was a newer one that was just added, basically to see, hey, I've got a training coming up and I want to see who of my staff has registered. So that's super helpful. And then of course, the notorious transcript report. Again, I cannot express the importance of this one because once you kind of play with it, you're able to manipulate a lot of data using Excel. And again, once you feel comfortable. So you have these amazing reports. It has hints and notes, tells you what you select, how you refresh, how you download into Excel. And we have that for each, our small consortium and then also our large. So our large is going to be Dallas County, HGAC, Literacy Council of Tyler, Tarrant County, and then Region 20. Any of the other ones are going to be under small. Okay, then we have this other link here, if you can see on my screen. Again, the little hand means that it's clickable. So also it will show you here how to run a report for, this one is for yourself. So for anything that's completed. So it's also helpful. I want to say this one's, yeah, so I think everyone has access to this one, but you also as supervisors or in your role have access to doing this one as well. Moving along, we have steps on how to use the admin tab. This is not one that we really spend a ton of time on because there's so many other things you can do with running reports and also using My Team. So we really lean towards using My Team and getting comfortable with it. We have steps on how to do that. So when you use My Team, it tells you that you can search for staff, view staff transcripts, assign professional development, and then add external trainings. So there's a lot of things you can do underneath that tab. Well, you can see that this document is a little bit lengthy because we try to include what you can do. So it shows you how to search for staff, and it shows you some tricks that if you can't find your staff, hey, try this and see if it works. Another trick here, you can view your staff transcripts. That is the completed and also ones they're registered for. So there's lots of options there. And then if you accidentally assign a training, y'all, this is so awesome. You have the option of removing it. And so it shows you how to do it, what to click. And so this is essentially just a guide to build your confidence and know that you have the resources here at your fingertips to do what you need. And then of course, you're always welcome to reach out. It has a little note here that you're able to print a certificate. And then assign training, we specifically direct you to a different PDF because this one is super important that you follow a certain protocol in doing it, just so that there's not errors made. We know that it happens, but when they're made, it sometimes can cause 2 days of work for us to fix, which is fine. We get it, it happens. But we do have some great resources that are set up. So assign training to staff if it's live training, face-to-face, or any kind of live webinars like a live Workforce Wednesday, then you're going to go and assign using the events calendar. However, if it's an online class, then you are going to use My Team to assign. So we always have to point that out. And again, if you click on the assign training to staff, you have another very detailed ways. And this is one little diagram graphic that we created just to help kind of put it in perspective is use the events calendar for webinars and face-to-face, use My Team for online classes or recorded webinars. And it just seems to help a little bit. We try not to make it too confusing because there are several ways that you can do things in the portal. But if you ever have questions on this, please feel free to email us. Let us help you first, and we are happy to do that. But anyway, it goes through on how to do it and all the helpful information, what to click and what not to click and what to deselect. It's great stuff. It really is. We have a little bit of information on adding external trainings to staff transcripts. Not everyone does this. Some people like to do it. Staff member can do it themselves by following this instructional PDF document. You can do it as a supervisor using My Team, and you can follow these steps there. And we have a little information about our community of practice. We have a little blurb on who to contact in the PD portal if you have questions. So for example, if you have questions specific to the PD portal or anything that has to do with, your My Teams account or signing, that is a question for Laura or myself, and you would email pdportal@tamu.edu. However, some questions are going to be specific for your field specialist or your PD specialist. So you want to make sure that you reach out to that person. And if you don't know who that is, you can always email Krista, our manager of PD Field Services, and she can help you out. And we're always looking for feedback to improve our resources here. So that's what this link is at the bottom, is just to provide anything that you think might be helpful that we can add to this resource. So I just spent a long time talking, but that is a lot of information, and we're happy to meet with you individually and talk through if you need additional training or have questions.
All right. Thank you so much, Katie. And I think that was a perfect use of PD coordinator time. Remember, if you ever want to, you can email me, and I'll put my email in the chat pod. If you have questions, if you for next month, if you want to watch Katie run a report or, something like that, or if you want to see how something else works in the PD portal, please email me and let me know, and we will make it a part of the session, because that's what we want you want this time for. This is your chance to learn and ask questions. And it's just a lot easier if we know the questions ahead of time, because then we can be prepared. So, but we don't mind doing it on the fly either, because that's what we do. All right. So this is, it is now 3 o'clock. And I'm going to let Anne-Marie take me to the next slide. Our next PD coordinator webinar is November 11th. So we will see you then.
All right. Thank you so much. And Katie, again, thank you so much for taking the time to show us that, the Wakelet. And I want to see if there's any last minute questions. I know there's a lot of great comments coming in, and there is a comment. Krista is a great specialist as well. Thanks. And I have to concur about that, and Wayne too. So, okay, so there is a question that just came in. Thank you, Oscar. What do the session certificates that do not specify hours but indicate that it can be eligible for PD or words to that effect mean? Is it just informational documentation or a local call? Great question, Oscar. So Krista, would you like to address that one?
I think I'm going to hop that over to Laura or Beth.
I can take it. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I saw it coming. So, Oscar, what we found out, it used to be that what we awarded certificate, or what certificates were generated for in the PD portal were only webinars and sessions for which PD credit was awarded. And then especially once everything went virtual and the COVID era got kicked off, we found that folks were attending webinars that were informational, or for instance, distance leads meetings or PD coordinator meetings, things like that. And then they were looking for their certificates, because what they needed was that evidence, that proof to take back to their program, so that they could document those hours and get paid for them. So we did make a switch back in July when the program year turned over. We made a switch to where anything that is attended live in the portal gets a gets a certificate of completion. We have tried really hard to make sure to distinguish clearly between those that PD credit, for which PD credit is awarded, and those for which there is no PD credit. So if you see a certificate that says, has a blank where PD hours, so it'll say like, this webinar gets blank PD hours and is awarded or can fulfill the blank PD category. If that information is left off, it is most likely going to be an informational webinar. I'm not saying typos don't happen, but 9 times out of 10, that means it's informational. But also on those same certificates, if you look at the title, it should have the word informational in parentheses at the end. So like y'all's certificates for today's webinar will say PD coordinator's webinar, and in the parentheses, it'll say informational. Trying to make sure that we meet everyone where they're at in terms of what they need for documentation purposes at the local level, but also trying to make it as clear cut as we can as to which certificates are for PD credit and which ones are more for documentation and not necessarily PD credit. If that's clear as mud and you need a little bit more clarification, you're welcome to email us or email Krista. We will hunt down an answer and get information back to you as needed.
Thank you so much, Laura. And I'm gonna, I don't see any other questions, and I know we are over time here, but I think it has been a jam-packed session today, and we want to thank all of you for joining us. And the next PD coordinator webinar will be November 11th. And so we look forward to seeing you. And I want to just see if any of my colleagues have any closing comments or anything they want to share. And I want to thank Katie for being an excellent co-host. I want to thank my colleagues, and I'm going to go ahead and just turn my camera on briefly to say goodbye. Maybe Katie wants to turn on her camera. And we want to thank you all and have a wonderful afternoon, and I hope that it's sunny wherever you are, because it's sure not sunny in Houston right now. So everybody have a wonderful rest of the day and have a great weekend, and we will see you next month. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.